Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to show you my most current chilly weather routine. Here in the Midwest, it is getting really cold, but it bounces back and forth between kind of cold and then super cold. So one day it might be barely 20 degrees or below freezing in any range, and then the next day it'll be like 58 and sunny. So my skin is very dry and parched and just very confused, and I'm going to show you what I do to make my face look nice and healthy and fresh. So, as always, I have my lids primed with my Milani primer, and I have my eyebrows done today with my Rimmel, the Rimmel eye pen. I go back and forth between kind of liking it and not really using it a whole lot, so I don't know, the jury is still out on that product, but I think they look kind of okay today. So for my eyes today, I'm going to use my Kathleen Lights and So Jaded palette. It's been a while since I've used this on camera, and I thought I'd break it out again because why not? Okay, so first I am going to just start off really basic with the shade Rose Quartz here. I'm going to use this as my transition shade. I'm not dipping back into the pan, I am just using what I already have on the brush to buff this out. Okay, after that I'm going to use a more domed shader brush. This one's from BH Cosmetics. Don't know the number because it's rubbed off, but it's like this really pretty marbled handle. And I'm going to hop into the shade Geodude, and I'm going to kind of put this along the outer portion in kind of like an angled shape. I like doing this shape because since my eyes are slightly hooded, especially in this area, I think it flatters my eye shape more. And I go back and forth between having my eye relaxed and open so I can see if there's any like weird little spots. I'm gonna go back into that first brush and kind of just blend. Anyway, I'm going to take that brush that I was using for that crease shade and just kind of blend this all together and make it really soft. I'm just barely skimming the edge of my bristles onto the shadow on my lid. I haven't dipped back into the pan, I'm just softening up everything. I'm just going to go back in with this brush and correct the shape on this eye because it's not quite matching on this eye. So now I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to use the shade Moonstone right here, and I'm going to press this on the lid, then going back into that first brush and softening up all of these edges because I want this to be very soft and everyday. So now I'm going to move on to complexion. One of my very favorite types of products to use as a base, especially during the colder months, is something that's really glowy. So something like the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. One of my favorites of all time is this L'Oreal Visible Lift Luminous Serum Tint. I have the shade Pearl. It's so beautiful, and it's actually super moisturizing. It's just really rich, and it feels very like lotion-like on the skin. So I'm just going to apply this kind of like a moisturizer and primer in one. I did already put all my skincare on this morning, but this is just like an extra pick-me-up. It leaves this really beautiful glow to the skin, and I really love that it doesn't have any flecks of glitter in it at all. It's just this really lovely pearly finish on my skin, and it's gorgeous. They have other shades too. I always just look for the lightest shade, and that's what I usually pick. For complexion, I'm going to use the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. I really like this, but since I do live in a drier climate during the winter months, I do have to make sure my base is very moisturized before I put this on, because if I use hyaluronic acid without anything, it'll just suck the moisture from my skin instead of adding moisture to my skin. Fair, I have the shade Fair 4N. I was using the shade Fair 2W, but I found it just a little too light and it kind of made me look chalky and pasty. So I liked to use it as a mix-in for more full coverage foundations that were a little bit more matte. That's another thing about this product too, is it is a great mixing foundation to use with your more full coverage foundations if you didn't want something as light as just this tinted moisturizer, but you didn't want something like a super full glam coverage. You could just mix the two together and they create this nice medium. I'm gonna blend it a little bit up onto my ears so I don't have just a line, and press it along my jaw. So for my under eyes, I like to use concealers in general that are more creamy and hydrating because under my eyes is very, very, very dry. So one of my favorites is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Concealer. This is so, so beautiful. I like to use it in conjunction with other complexion products, and I like to use it on its own with just concealer days. So I like to put it here and a little dot. Well, I guess it's more than dots, just a little thing. And then I like to just kind of spot conceal wherever I need a little extra help. I actually think I want a little bit more brightness, so I'm going to use one of my other favorites, the NARS Creamy Concealer, and I'm just gonna pop that right there to help brighten up this area. And I use that concealer in the shade Vanilla. So what is the weather like where you all are at? Here, just like back and forth, back and forth. It can't seem to be just cold or just like a nice chill. It's one or the other. And actually last week, I'm pretty sure we had one day that was like in the mid 60s. So there is that. I can still see some of my imperfections through it. And since it is wintertime, my freckles are fading, so you can't see those like really badly. But it's still just a really light to medium coverage, and it looks really fresh, and you can see this glow here that's natural, that's coming from that L'Oreal product with all these nice hydrating, juicy complexion products. For my lower lash line, I'm just going to use Rose Quartz, that first shade that we were using. And I'm going to focus it on the outer corner of my lash line and then kind of blend it in with that shade Moonstone and pop it right here on the inner portion of the lower lash line, just to bring some unity to the look and brighten it up down there. I'm going to put mascara on now. I'm going to use the Maybelline Lash Sensational Luscious Mascara. So mascara is on, and the next thing I like to do is put some bronzer on. In the winter especially, I really like to use a bronzer that will give my skin a nice glow and sheen to make it look really healthy and fresh. So that either that be a cream bronzer or a bronzer with a little bit of a sheen that is a powder. So today I wanted to use a powder, and I'm going to use the Revlon Skin Lights in the shade 110 Sunlit Glow. I just like swirl my brush in there kind of violently, and then I like to just kind of swirl this underneath my cheekbones. Yeah, cheekbones initially, and then I kind of press it to blend it out. And then I like to go on my forehead. I don't really have a huge forehead, so I like to focus the bronzer along the sides. And I don't put a lot of product in the middle here. Whenever I am done, I do like to take my brush and kind of dust off the rest of the product on a towel, and then kind of blend right here, like connecting the two sides. And then I dip in a little bit more and do my nose and my jaw. And then I'm gonna go and use my sponge and just press over that to make it look more seamless. I really feel like this helps to melt that powder bronzer down into your skin more and make it look more like it's coming from within rather than sitting on top of your skin. In the wintertime, if I feel like I got a little bit more heavy-handed, I will use the side of my sponge that I used to blend out my concealer in my foundation and just kind of press that over the whole bronzer area, because in the winter I don't really like to look really sun-kissed. I like to look more frostbitten, so more blush. Now I like to do highlight after bronzer instead of after blush because I don't want to look like a Neapolitan ice cream. Okay, so I like to use highlights that look a little bit more natural, and for today, I have a couple that I really, really like, but today I'm going to use the ColourPop highlighter in the shade here, Kitty Kitty. I haven't bought a compact, so it's still in this little, just this little plastic one. I'm actually going to try to draw out some inspiration from the makeup artist Nambo, and I'm going to use this bigger brush. Not quite the kind that she uses, but I'm hoping it'll give the same effect. So I'm going to like dip into the highlighter, and then what she does is just kind of like sweep it. Oh, did it work? And then she just kind of blends it out. Oh my, that's a lot. Wow. I don't know. This is not normally what I do. I just wanted to try a new technique. Oh wow, that's a lot of highlighter. I'm gonna bring the rest up around my temple and then on my nose and maybe my chin. Wow, that's really glowy. I'm gonna take my sponge and kind of press. Oh no, I don't think I liked that. It emphasized some texture when normally it doesn't, because it's a lot. Looks really good on camera though. Is take a teeny little drop of the tinted moisturizer onto my sponge, and then I'm going to blend that into the sponge. And then I can open my compact. I'm going to kind of gently press over that highlighter. It's more so right there. Normally next I like to go into a glowy blush. I know that it might seem like a lot, glowy bronzer, highlight, glowy blush, but I really like the effect it gives. Since my skin is more dry, it helps to liven up my complexion. Some of my favorites are the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop I Need Space Blush, and then the Milani Luminoso, of course, a classic. And then my more recent favorite is the Patrick Ta Blush Duo in the shade She's That Girl. It's this really nice. So I think I'm actually going to use this guy today. These other two are really great affordable options, and I use them a lot, like all of the time. This normally people like to put the cream blush on and then the powder blush on, but this formula you put the powder on first. So I'm just gonna kind of lightly press that on. And I like to apply blush kind of higher up and at a downward angle, so from here coming down, kind of into this hollow part of my cheek. And then I put the excess on my nose and on my forehead and chin. Then of course I like to use my sponge to kind of press that in. Now today I could probably stop at just the powder blush because I put a little more highlight, and by a little I mean a lot more highlight than I normally do, but I really want to use the cream, so we're gonna do it. So I'm going to use my sponge and flip it over and dip into that, and then I'm going to press the extra on the back of my hand, kind of like blotting the sponge, and then I'm going to press this over that powder, and it just gives that nice little healthy glow to the cheek, so it just doesn't look like flat pink. Just repeating my steps. And then I'm going to flip it over again and run over the edge. Okay, so there is the complexion done. I am going to wipe off any foundation on my lips. In the winter, my lips are very, very dry, so I prefer to use something that is either glowy or moisturizing, like a gloss or a lip crayon, kind of like these ColourPop Just a Tints, or a lip oil like the Luxe lip oils, also from ColourPop. Okay, so now I'm going to use a lip liner. This is the Milani Color Statement lip liner in the shade 3 Nude. I need to get another one because it's very tiny. So I'm gonna line and fill in my lips. I'm gonna kind of use my finger to press that color in, And then I am going to put a gloss on top because my lips are very, very, very dry. So today I want to use this Pixie gloss. This is in the shade Sheer Rose. This is a mini like sample size that I got in an Ipsy bag. And whenever this is gone, I'm going to go buy a full size because it is just so beautiful. And I love the formula. I changed my mind. I kind of blotted that off. I actually really want to use this Tower 28 gloss. This is just the shade Chill, the clear one. And I'm just gonna put this on. This is like really pillowy and not sticky. It's like a balmy texture, but it gives you like super glassy lips, and I really, really, really love it. The last thing I'm going to do is put on some brow gel. I'm going to use my Benefit 24-hour brow setter. They're definitely kind of distant cousins today, my brows, but it is what it is. So this is the finished look. It is a little bit more bold than some people might go for every day, but me personally, I can go from wearing nothing to just mascara to this. So it just depends really what my mood is in for that particular day to determine how glam my everyday look is. But this is about, in general, what I do. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you'll be notified every single time I upload a new video. Bye! Here in the Midwest, it bounces. Deeper in and out. I forgot my mascara. Oh, of course I did. The Maybelline Lash. Normally next I like to use a glowy. Ooh, don't want to knock over the coffee. Speaking of coffee. So some of my favorites are the ColourPop blush by Kathleen Lights. ColourPop, and I use them really.